Nevarro is attacked by pirates. Carson Teva goes to the New Republic for help. The Armorer makes a big decision and more as the Sky Guys are back to recap Chapter 21 of The Mandalorian.
All right, we are back here on the Sky Guys covering Chapter 21 of The Mandalorian titled The Pirate. Unfortunately, our favorite pirate did not come. Still a good episode. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. Join me today, the man who's voiced your narration every single week, Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
Doing great. Mando finally kicking up some steam here, so I'm very excited to talk a little Mandalorian with you guys today.
Absolutely. Also here with us today, the head of requisitions in the New Republic, Nick Fraietta, is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. What a delightful episode. What a breath of fresh air. Very happy to see it. I do have a couple of funny stories. I think I told you that. I have a couple funny stories. But my first one is that when this episode started, for the first 4 minutes, I was furious. I'm like, this is gonna be the worst episode ever. And then right after they pretty much showed the title card with the music playing, it turned great from then on. But those first 4 minutes, I was so mad.
So once Carson Teva shows up, you're back in.
Yeah, basically at the beginning of the episode when it played out with Grief talking to not the contractors, what are they called, the engineers and all that, and then when the Mandalorian title came up, it didn't play the Mando music.
Yeah,
it played other music, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna be a full episode on Nevarro about infrastructure. I was so mad, and then it just wasn't, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so that's what's going on here, and Pete, people want to follow Rise of the Sky Guys, do so on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, all of those suspects. Simply search the Sky Guys here podcast platforms, more episodes there. If you follow us from the Just in the Suffering feed, you're gonna get these episodes a few days late. So you don't want to wait for an episode like today.
I agree. You want that exclusivity. You want that exclusive drop content that's dropping early. Please subscribe.
Absolutely here. And Nick, if you want to follow social media, kind of do that.
At Sky Guys Podcast, that's both on Instagram and on Twitter.
Yep, but you can also check out the YouTube page, Mike Phillips on YouTube, video version of the podcast. Here we got our video, our graphics, our fancy props here. So Lego Mando is here, though I do think we need to get I'm feeling that Nick, we might get the Lego Bo-Katan brickhead coming soon.
It may be.
Really cool.
So let me ask you a question. You have Brickhead Mando there, right?
Yes.
And you showed us Brickhead Grogu. Is he not there?
He's there.
Okay, you're just not showing him. So you leave them there.
I showed Grogu last week.
No, I know, but I mean the ones that you don't show. I want to know if they're elsewhere or if they're just sitting. They're all sitting there, but you choose who to show.
There's a group of 5 sitting over here. Plus, there's an R2 somewhere over here. It's not a brickhead.
Okay.
And your favorite repelling motto. All right, so that's going on here. Nick, got a little bit of Star Wars news to discuss. So I feel like things are going to start picking up next couple week's celebration.
Yeah. So celebrations. What now? Easter weekend?
It's coming. I think next week starts.
So I think is it on the 8th?
I think it's like the 6th to the 10th. I want to say something like that.
So that's a week. That's a week from. Well, you'll hear this episode on the 30th. So this is a week from today when you're hearing this. So that's great. But there's one big rumor that's circulating the internet, and that is that 3 Star Wars movies will be announced at Celebration for release in, I'm assuming, December of 25, 27, and 29. That's 2025, 2027, and so on. And it's pretty funny. The comments on Instagram when I saw that post from one of the Star Wars pages, all the comments were, "Okay, they'll all be canceled. Who cares?" So, you know me, I don't get my hopes up until I see an announcement from either Lucasfilm or Disney or Star Wars on Twitter that says we are making a movie. It's coming out on this day, even if it's announced at Celebration. And that's a celebration I would get excited to, because as far as we've gotten so far, it's just random articles that say, Rian Johnson has a trilogy, and I'm like, well, where is it? It's random articles. None of them have any sort of source.
I'll tell you the sources on all these Lucasfilm that's leaking stuff out. That's my hunch on all those sources.
Yeah, no, that's true. But you know what I mean. Like, it's not like an official Twitter announcement or something on Instagram or wherever they post it. It says, this is the movie that's coming out next, and we could get that at Celebration. So I don't know. I don't want to say hopefully we do, because I actually don't want a movie, but I wouldn't be mad if there was a movie.
Yeah, so to clarify here, the rumor of the specific 3 we're getting here is the former Dane Lindelof movie, now headed by the Peaky Blinders writer Stephen DeKnight, or I think his name is. That's 2025. Taika's 2027, and the one by Sean Levy was the Deadpool 3 writer. That's 2029. So, Pete, you actually believe we're getting an announcement celebration?
No, I don't. If we do this, I don't know. I just, like Nick says, I'll believe it when I see it. I'd never get my hopes up with this kind of stuff, and especially because the sequel trilogy, except for the exception of episode 7, was just not it. So I'm very hesitant about it.
So you're like, wake me up when we have a trailer.
When we have a trailer that's good, at least. I mean, I don't want to.
Well, they've done a good job with that. I think all the trailers have been good.
True.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker even had a good trailer.
Yeah. I mean, remember we were buzzing about that trailer when it came out, and then like all of a sudden, whoops, like that was all the good stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
And Nick, like, what do you think about the rumor also falling around that apparently like there's rumors that Kathleen Kennedy has to get a movie out by 2025 or she's out at Lucasfilm?
I don't know. I don't know. And we like to sit here on, behind our microphones, and people like to sit on their couch and say that it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault and she does this, she does that. We're not in that room. We don't know how much say she has as compared to other people. I know she is pretty much the top, right? She's basically she is the CEO of Lucasfilm, right?
Yeah, she runs it, but she only reports Disney.
Right, but we don't know what kind of creative control she has, and if she does, or if she does have that power, if she uses it, we really don't know. So I feel like it's unfair to blame her, but at the same time, it's also unfair to say it's not her fault. So it could be her fault, but it also might not be.
I mean, we heard the rumors a few weeks ago how Bob Iger is. He said like, "Hey, stop leaking stuff about movies till we actually have stuff." So,
yep, that's funny.
Yeah. So I think again, I feel like this is. I feel like in terms of like all these creators that come through that have good track records, like the fact that none of them are able to make a movie stick so far makes you wonder if Kathleen Kennedy is the problem there.
Could be her. Could be someone we don't know. It's like who's her assistant who works right under her, who she lets handle the day-to-day stuff while she's more focused on running a business. It could be that person. We don't know. I don't want to say she's off the hook, but I also don't think it's fair to say that it's necessarily her.
Yeah, I think that's all the news you had for the week, though, right?
That is it.
All right, so let's get to chapter 21 here, the pirate. And Nick, when you saw the title, were you convinced we were gonna get Hondo today?
No, when I saw the title, I was still mad. Remember?
Yeah,
I was still mad, and they were playing non-Mandalorian music. It was about that, and I'm like, there's going to be a whole thing, and his standoff to be his whole thing, his whole episode. We're not even going to get Mando in this episode. We're going to get no one. This is awful. Maybe Cobb Vanth will show up, and that'll be it. And I'm just like, this is going to be such a bad episode. Now we only have 3 left, and then I was completely wrong. It's completely changed the ties, and I think it was the best episode of the season.
Pete, you agree with Nick? Do you think this is the best episode of the season so far?
Yeah, I think it's the best episode for a couple reasons. I think the content of it was really good, but also I think it actually legitimizes the first 4 episodes in its own way. I think you kind of watch the first 4 episodes without this episode, and you're like, wow, this has no direction. What the hell's going on? This episode kind of brought everything together as, oh, this is why we needed all this information. Okay, got it.
Even Captain Seaweed. Who, Nick, R.I.P. Captain Seaweed?
Yeah, I'm shocked they didn't use him in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Yeah. Although Vane got away, so I don't think we're done with Vane. Maybe not in this show, maybe another show.
I don't think we're done with Vane in this show.
I feel like I'm calling my shot right now. Vane's going to show up in Skeleton Crew.
That'd be cool.
That's not a bad theory. They do like to introduce characters in the Mandalorian series.
Yeah, and they did say they're not going to use the main character. It doesn't mean they're not using any character who appears. So, like, I would not be shocked if Vane the pirate runs into these kids of Jude Law in Skeleton Crew.
My theory is that Vane is working for someone higher, not his seaweed, not his seaweed friend.
Oh, that's also Carson Teva's theory.
Yeah.
All right. So we do get this sequence at the beginning that Nick absolutely hates, where Grief Karga is, hanging out like with his architect buddies. Oh, we're gonna build this here, and then the pirates invade. So, like, when you saw the pirates are coming to attack Nevarro, were you like rolling your eyes?
I was.
Yeah.
But immediately after this scene, when he goes to seek help from the Republic, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then the rest of the episode was amazing. So just this scene, I didn't like.
Yeah, Pete, were you initially knowing you saw the pirates coming back?
I was I don't know if I was rolling my eyes, but I was just kind of like, okay, where's this going? Like, are we like? I kind of figured the Mandalorian was going to get
Involved.
involved. Yeah, but like I didn't know. Like once I saw the New Republic get involved, I didn't know he was going to be involved. It was just right as the title card came up. I was like, okay, yeah, he's coming back to Nevarro.
Yeah, we do see that like they attack. He's forced to flee the city with his people. He sends a distress signal out, and Nick, it gets to our buddy Carson Teva on. Did you know that we finally saw the New Republic outpost out there? It's called the Delphi.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a quick sec. What did you say?
The
So the New Republic outpost, and then it cut out.
It's called a Delphi at the college.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we have a Delphi College campus out in the outer rim.
Yeah, and we saw some friends there, huh?
Yeah, Pete. All our favorite directors were in this scene. Apparently, Rick Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow, and Dave Filoni were all hanging out at this bar.
I missed all of that.
Yeah,
but I'm sure you didn't miss this one.
Nope.
Yeah, we got a Zeb sighting, Nick.
Who would have thought before we got Sabine, before we got Hera, before we got Ezra in live action, we got Zeb. We talked about it on this podcast that we would not get Zeb in live action, maybe ever, because his character, just how would it look, And it looks amazing. It looks better in live action than it did in animated. And if you need to know who Zeb is,
yeah, for the uninitiated.
So the short version is Zeb was one of the main characters on Star Wars Rebels who fought alongside Ezra and Kanan and the rest of the Ghost crew. The longer version is he was basically the wrecker of the group. Kind of. He was the muscle of the group. He was kind of like a Chewie to Han, how he was to Kanan in a way, but he was a warrior, served with the Ghost crew, served in the rebellion, and I guess now he's in the New Republic.
Yeah, and Pete, like, how wild was it when you like did the double take? I was like, oh wait, that's Zeb.
I was so excited, but also so pissed at the same time because I said that's the Rebels character you go with this early. Like, why isn't that Sabine? But it was so cool. Zeb in live action was phenomenal, and I'm very excited to see what they do with the rest of the season now.
But the fact that he's around, and we know the Ahsoka's show takes place in this timeline, he has to be in that show because we know Ezra's in it, we know Sabine's in it, we know Ahsoka's in it, Chopper's in it. Like, he's going to be there, and I said it multiple times. I don't like when they announce the actors because it takes away from the surprise. I guess there really isn't an actor for this, right? I don't know how it works.
It's the same voice actor, Steve Bloom, who voiced.
Yeah, but this is not a puppet, right? This is CGI, right?
It's CGI with him voicing. Yeah. They probably have a stunt guy on set, like wearing a green screen suit to make for the actors to work.
Yeah, so you don't have to, say they hired so and so to play Zeb because it's more or less just a guy wearing a green suit. It could be anyone.
Yeah, it could. So
I'm very happy.
Yeah, and this is now 2 Rebel characters. He make the travel to live action after Chopper showed up in Rogue One.
Yeah, and the space whales. So we got some Rebels coming out of the woodwork here.
And don't forget Hondo at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think with all these Rebels references here, Nick, I feel they're going to be your Grand Admiral Thrawn pick in the draft. Considering we getting Rebels like breadcrumbs every episode, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like they're building towards something, or they're trying to hint at something or someone coming, doesn't it?
I mean, we had the space whales to premiere. We had Thrawn's TIE fighters show up. We had Zeb show up. I mean, like we're clearly building that direction.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, Carson Teva finds out like I'm going to go like seek help. So I'm going back to the New Republic, and he goes to visit Colonel Tuttle, who's played by Tim Meadows from SNL fame. Nick, could you recognize him?
Yeah, I actually recognized him from as you mentioned, SNL, but the first thing I ever saw him in was The Benchwarmers.
Yeah.
But he is absolutely perfect for this role because he is, in a nutshell, exactly what is wrong with the New Republic. He's a nice guy. He comes off very happy and friendly, right? Because he's a comedian in real life, right?
Yeah.
But as you could see, the passive aggressiveness, the way of, this is not an empire anymore. We're doing, we're a republic now, saying it doesn't make it true. You need to act on it too, and that's exactly what's wrong with the Republic, because it thinks it's changed everything from the Empire, but they haven't changed anything.
Yeah, yeah, they're on the same playbook with the different coaching staff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so Pete, we do see the Carson Teva goes up and says, "Hey, I received this message. Like, I need goes to Coruscant to talk to Colonel Tuttle. Says like, I'm trying to get help." And I love the Tim Meadows character. He's like such like an arrogant prick to him. He's like, "Hey, like, this is a democracy. This is not a dictatorship. Like, please give me your request." And he's like, I want soldiers, and I want like ships to go stop this invasion here." And I want to give credit to our friend Elliot Kane, who happened to work in this office here, and she quickly kind of shifts things like, "Hey, like, they're not in the republics, therefore, like, we should make them like, wait their turn to get help."
This legitimized the episode that was mainly on Coruscant with her character and Dr. Pershing. This is why I love this episode so much, because it's just taking little bits and pieces and putting it all together. Might be a little too late unless they're like the next 3 episodes are just killer episodes, but she plays this role perfectly. You kind of, I don't know if you get the sense of her motives in that first episode we see her in with Dr. Pershing. I can't tell if it's more I'm for the New Republic or I'm for a different reason. When she turns the dial up, it's the same thing. I didn't know what she was going for, but now hearing her speak in this, it's almost like she has something going on outside the New Republic.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I mean, Nick, I did think like here, bad luck in the Republic here, because I mean, Elliot Kane's point is like, "Hey, like, we have member worlds, we're not helping yet," and like Carson point thought like, "Hey, it's like, even though they're not a member charter, like, we should still be trying to like stiff out whatever like Empire pirate stuff is going on in the Outer Rim, because they just here."
They're both right. I mean, he's right. You should be trying to sniff anything out because that's your job, right? Is to make sure things don't get out of hand. But at the same time, she's right too. If it's like, well, you're not a member world. We got to take priority. I'm not saying we're not going to help you, but we have a lot of people that are in trouble right now who are member worlds, so we got to help them first. So I don't disagree with her, but I also don't disagree with him.
Yeah, I feel like though, like the way the argument I would make in Carson Taylor's favor also is like, "Hey, like, may not be a member world now. If we save their bacon, maybe they do become a member world. They do help us out in other areas."
It's a good point. It's a good point, but I think that's good writing, because bad writing is like, why wouldn't they do that? That's stupid. Why would they do this? Good writing to me is, I can see both sides of this. Good writing is a character like Thanos, where you can almost sympathize for the villain.
Yeah,
that's good writing. And in this situation, the bad guy, I guess, is the New Republic, or Tim Meadows and Elliot Kane. But you could side with them, and you're not wrong.
Yes, well argued here, Pete. I do think also it's a very good like dilemma here for them to go here, and also fun to see like the New Republic say like, we're not the Empire, and kind of act the same way the Empire would.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like Nick was saying, the writing is phenomenal in this character, and even just this interaction, it really makes you want to play both sides, if you will.
That's for sure here. So then we see Carson Teva doesn't take no for an answer. He decides, I'm going to go find these Mandalorians. So I guess on a hunch, he figures out, oh, like, what did he do? Some detective work between scenes? Nick went and go visit Pelimano, go figure out where Mando went.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm not sure on, is how did he know? Like, it makes sense that he can communicate with R5, but how does he know they have R5?
Maybe maybe he's visiting Tatooine. Maybe he's hanging out with Boba Fett between episodes.
Hanging out with Pelimano, that's a rough life.
Yeah, so like he find out that he's tracked R5 to the Mandalorian covert. He goes to tell Mando. The rest of the Mandalorians are pissed. And Nick, did you like they're calling the Republic people blues?
Yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with the fact that they call him the Mandalorian? Because I do.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I used to not have a problem with it. I used to not have a problem with it because he was trying to find the covert, and there weren't other Mandalorians, and he didn't know where they were, and he was lost, and he was looking for them and doing bounties. Now he's amongst them, and it's like the Mandalorian. There's like 70 of them right there looking at you.
Yeah.
So now I want them to start calling him by his name.
They call him Din.
I have a problem with the name. Like, even when I'm reading the subtitles and it says the Mandalorian, it's like, well, which one? Oh yeah, him.
Yeah, like our Mandalorian.
Yeah, I guess it's obviously a small thing. Who cares? It changes nothing about the show or the story, but it does kind of bother me because I feel like in real life, you call him that because he's the only Mandalorian you know. When you learn about others, you don't call him that anymore.
Yeah, Pete, I will back on track here with Carson Teva. I do think he plays this brilliantly, where he's like, "Hey, like I found I found a guy to the droid, thanks to the Republic." He's like, "I'm not asking for your help, and I'm delivering your message, and I know that like you want to help your friend, Din." So I think like well played by Carson Teva here.
Yeah, I think it was good writing again. I think it was not like this sob story of, oh, you need to help. Well, he did so much for you. It was like, hey, listen, you can help me or not. I'm just giving you the message. You do with it what you will.
Yeah, and Nick, this led to a very fun scene in the covert where they had the group meeting. And what I did you like the fact that like we basically pass like whoever speaks has to hold the armor as weapons?
No, I didn't. I thought it was a cool touch, but I didn't like it because it reminds me of more of their outdated culture.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's
it
like
was a cool. It was a cool touch, though.
it's a kindergarten thing. Like whoever has the magic
Speaking
cocktail.
stick.
Yeah, I did like
Speaking stick.
the speaking stick, and I did like the argument that Mando and Bo-Katan pitch is like this is a good point again. Threads back to episode 1 where Greek Carter offers him the land. He's like, hey, like we help these guys. I know that like you like had issues with them, considering they attacked us when you tried to save Grogu, but like we get this land. We can all like make a home for ourselves on this land and not have to worry about like hiding on underground caves. So I think that was a good sales pitch from Mando.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, and Pete, how surprised you when Paz Vizsla steps up to the mic second and it's like, you know what, like gives you all these reasons where he's like, you know what, I'm not going to do it, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm on board. Mando saved my kid.
I think that part was a little forced. I think especially what happened in the episode prior and how Paz Vizsla was so appreciative of it. I kind of saw through it a little bit, and I kind of saw it coming as him saying all these things that could sound bad, and then he switches around. It's like, of course we're gonna do it. That part to me was a little cheesy, just a little bit. I still think it was a good scene, but that writing was like, okay, that's been done before.
Yeah, I do think, but the thing this episode does well, Nick. It does pay off a lot of threads we opened up earlier in the season. I feel like there were plot points. I feel like if we had taken the stuff from Book of Boba and put it in this season and sort of tightened things up, we would have a much better narrative flow than we
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, and you know what's really a shame? My like only gripe. It's Grogu's not even a character anymore.
He's a mascot.
He's a man. He's really nice. He has no importance to the story right now. It is not about him at all. He's just there because if he wasn't there, people wouldn't be watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could love Luke Skywalker if we're gonna do that.
Yeah, and actually, I have seen on the internet, you can look up like an interest over time, like searches kind of thing. This show is very low, and I know for a fact that their numbers are not nearly what they want it to be.
Yeah.
Which is less than ideal.
Yeah, you might have to go back to the drawing board a little bit for what they have planned for season 4.
Yeah, they might have to.
Yeah, and I do think we did get though this they agree to help here, and we get a really, really, really fun, like as they say, Nick, about a 10-minute fight sequence on the Nevarro with the Mandalorians fighting the pirates.
The best.
Yeah. It was so good. Pete, what did you like the most on this sequence? Was it the air battle here with Mando chasing the pilots, the Mandalorians dropping in the armor? What did you like the most from this fight?
I really enjoy Din Djarin as a pilot. I really, really do. I think he's really skilled, and I think whenever they show him either in a dogfight or even just flying, it's so those scenes are always so cool to me. So that was probably my favorite part. But the battle as a whole is just super cool. You have Mandalorian armor all over the place. The armorers getting involved. You have Din Djarin and Bo-Katan running, dog fights in the air. It was a super, super cool scene.
Plus Paz Vizsla and his machine gun.
Yeah, that was. I wish the minigun moved and it wasn't static, barrels. I wish it like spun like a regular minigun did, but I mean, I'm nitpicking. That's just a little detail.
Yeah, awesome battle. Really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely once in animation with the Siege of Mandalore, have we ever seen a battle of this scale with Mandalorians all over the place?
I'd say closest probably season 1 when they're Mandalorians fighting Grease bounty hunters to help Mando escape.
Yeah, and to me, this was a lot better than that. To me, this was an awesome, awesome, awesome battle scene. I did tell you off the air. I thought it was so cheesy that the armorer came in with their little stick and is hitting people in the back, but whatever.
It's a good for me. I like that because it's a direct call out to how she fought the stormtroopers in season 1.
I just don't like her.
And you have an issue with her.
I do. I don't think those mole spikes on her helmet are a coincidence, and I'm waiting for that to develop.
Yeah, I feel like she did win some points at the end of this episode for her actions.
She did.
Yeah, but I will also say in terms of this too, I did also enjoy the whole fact that this battle was it's not like a DC thing where everything's in the dark. This is a full on Mandalorian fight in the daylight, so you can see everything.
Yeah, thank you. Be like that season 8. Be like that night battle in Game of Thrones. My God. I don't know if you got there yet, Mike.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Have you been watching? I forgot. I think you have.
I have not gotten to it yet. I'm going to this summer.
Oh, okay. I know, Pete, you finished the show, correct?
I did.
That battle at night in season 8 where you literally couldn't see a thing.
Yep. Had to turn every light off in my living room and at night, and I still could barely see it.
Yeah, well, that's going on here. I did also think it was funny watching Captain Seaweed sort of completely fail and act this thing, and it gets so bad that they just see ya and just flies away. That got me laughing.
Yeah. I like that he had that guy with him, his first mate.
Yeah,
yeah, you know who I'm talking about. It's the same species as
the anti-Keel.
Yeah, the anti-Keel.
Yeah, Bizarro Keel.
Yep.
Yeah, I did think it was also Pete. I was so amazed at how stupid Captain Seaweed was in this situation where he's like, "We're gonna attack them anyway. We can't let them get away with this." And he's like, "We have one engine left." It's like, I don't care. We're gonna destroy them.
Yeah, he was definitely determined.
Yeah.
Stupid Captain Seaweed.
Yeah, well, they take out his engine, he dies, and then Greef Karga gives his rousing speech that the Mandalorians have a home on Nevarro. They have a huge plot of land to work with. So I think everybody wins here, Nick.
Yeah, and if you didn't notice, which I'm sure almost everyone didn't notice, unless you saw it on the internet or something, the land that Greef Karga gave them was called Bullock Canyon.
Yeah.
Spelled Bulloch, which is a direct reference to Jeremy Bulloch, who played Boba Fett in the original trilogy.
Yep. This is a lot of fun here. And Pete, we got a great sequence before the end of the episode here where the Armorer and Bo-Katan meet up again, and the Armorer basically takes some time to think about what Bo-Katan told her last week. Tells Bo-Katan, take off your helmet, and says, you're the one who can unite our people. There are those who believe in the way and those who don't. You can unite everyone. And the arrival of the Mythosaur is supposed to bring a new rise of dominance to Mandalore. So I did think good for the Armor showing a little bit of fluidity to her thinking.
I think it's manipulation. I think something's going on, and I think that it's a cool thing to have Bo-Katan be able to take her helmet off and everything like that. And I understand trying to get all the Mandalorians together, and this is the way to do it. It's just, I saw this on Twitter. It's such a flip floppy thing. It's like, you took off your helmet. You need to go into Mandalore and get the wars. And now it's like, oh, well, you can take your helmet off, buddy. It's okay. You can help us. And it's like, wait a minute. Mando was all about the creed. And you didn't care about that. You just, it was a little flip floppy. But I think there's more than meets the eye. I think something's going on with the Armorer. I think she's being manipulative right now. And I just don't know what it's about.
I think she's trying to use Bo-Katan for her own means.
Well, yeah, 100%. But I'm curious as to what the angle is, and I'm hoping we see that by the end of the season.
Yeah, Nick might see as soon as next week what's going on with the Armor, why she wants Bo-Katan going and rallying troops for her.
Because she's really Maul. No, that'd be horrible. No, but very interested on what her end game is here. It could be sincere, probably not. If it was sincere, her goal is, all right, you saw the Mythosaur, you're the key to all of this. You can help us reunite all of our different factions, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's do that. That's the honest thing. In reality, what is it probably? Maybe to get to force those other factions into a quote unquote final battle where she can have her way with them.
Yeah. So you feel like she's just trying to get as many troops as they can to just go retake Mandalore, and then like,
Although that'd be if she was telling the truth. I don't know if she is. I don't think she is. But what is she actually up to? I don't know. But it is a possibility that she's telling the truth.
yeah, and they did kind of fool me here, Nick. I thought once again we're gonna be 5 for 5 in the episode of Bo-Katan.
Yeah, so that's my funny story that I had told you. The next scene is a great scene. It was a big discovery. We'll get to it, but I watched these episodes on my commute into work, and I have to hurry up, especially today, because as soon as it's over, I got to put on the next one because I got to watch 3 of them, and I don't have that much time on my trains. All right, so I turned it off
After Bo-Katan.
right here, and then I was about to put on Bad Batch, and I said to myself, maybe there's something else. Let's just confirm. And there was. And I was like, oh my God, there is. And it was just kind of funny. So, because I turned it off because I look at the timestamp and there's like 7 minutes left. And I'm like, yeah, they usually do credits. Sometimes it's 4 minutes, sometimes it's 8 minutes. But I'm sure it's done. But it wasn't done, and I'm glad I went back.
Yeah, glad you went back to here. We do get this great scene, Pete, where Carson Teva is out on patrol and he finds a wrecked Imperial shuttle. We find out that was the one that was transporting Moff Gideon. So the rumor was true. He has escaped.
He has escaped, but you're missing the key part of all of that. So he has escaped, but why don't you tell the folks the big reveal?
The big reveal is that he sends a droid, like a probe, to investigate the ship, and they find Mandalorian Beskar inside the ship. So it's possible that some Mandalorians broke Gideon out.
So, sorry, Nick, go ahead.
I think there's 3 possibilities. Mandalorian did it. Could have been Vizsla, because Vizsla said he should be dead. He shouldn't be going to jail.
So this is the option 1 is here. You think that the covert day and they're hiding from Mando.
Option 2 is someone that works for him just has Mandalorian armor or Beskar. Yeah. Or option 3 is he's trying to frame the Mandalorians.
I think there's a 4th option that there's another group of Mandalorians we have not seen yet that did this.
Yeah, that's an option too. Yeah.
So I think personally, I mean, we always, I mean, I don't know. I always wonder, how did he get the Darksaber to begin with?
Yeah, he beat Gideon.
No,
Gideon.
He get the Darksaber to begin with.
Oh, he beat Bo-Katan.
Right. So he beats Bo-Katan. What does that make him?
It does make him technically the leader of Mandalore.
Right. So I think there was a covert of Mandalorians that were behind him that we did not see yet. And I think that maybe the armorer was one of them, or maybe they're like Bo-Katan, Axe-Woves, and the other Mandalorian, because we don't know where they are. Maybe they were behind it. Maybe Bo-Katan was behind it. I don't know. But I think Mandalorians have been a part of Moff Gideon's crew since day 1, and we're just finding about it now. That's my opinion on it.
That is a good point. And that kind of goes to your point, Mike, as you had said, who was the character you had mentioned off the air?
I mentioned off the air from Rebels, another Rebels character, Fen Rao, the like one of the offshoots of Death Watch that Sabine means up meeting in the show. Like, we don't know where he is at this point in time. Maybe his guys went and got him.
Could be. I will say this: when we saw that scene first, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is Thrawn, and he's about to find Thrawn out there, and then either die or turn around and get the hell out of there. But it wasn't. But it could have been Thrawn who saved him. Yeah. Maybe Gideon's working for Thrawn, and Thrawn sent some people to go get him.
That would be my guess here, because my guess would be that Thrawn's behind this, and that he planted one of his representatives planted the Mandalorian Beskar to sort of build distrust between the Republic and the Mandalorians.
Could have also been Sasha Banks, but why would she do that, right? She hates him, right?
Yeah, she was there, right? She could have just taken him right there.
Yeah, I don't think she would have done that. I don't think it was Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I feel like it's either the Fen Rao crew or something, or like is just getting revenge, or I think the Thrawn plants is my theory.
You think the Paz Vizsla theory holds no water?
It does hold water. I do think this is another angle I could see where the armorer and Paz are hiding stuff from Din.
But in that case, he said that he deserves to die for his crimes. That would mean that he just kills him, and then there's no point.
Yeah, maybe they put that line in the previous on to try and deceive us.
So there's one major problem that I have here with this show.
Yeah.
And I'd like to discuss it, is that all of the major plot points seem to be happening either off screen or in other shows.
Yeah, there's a lot of Boba Fett callbacks.
There's Boba Fett where he gets Grogu back. There's off screen Moff Gideon escaping. Now I get that's probably because it's supposed to be. There's always that question in the show. We just had a question answered last week. Who saved Grogu? Now we know who it was. It was Jar Jar Binks, right? But there's always that big question. Who's the Jedi he's calling out to? It's Luke. Now the next big question in this show, is who rescued or broke out Moff Gideon?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that aspect, but I am a little upset that everything seems to be happening off air.
Yeah, I also did appreciate, Pete, that we did get this call out early in the episode where Carson Teva says, hey, there's a rumor that Gideon never made trial here. We get confirmation by the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, we do. And I think we get, and I can't remember the character's name, the one that was in the office with
Elliot Kane.
Yeah, I mean, she has a look on her when Moff Gideon is talked about in the office. So I think she has something to do with it as well. I think it's all connected. I think that's why the first 4 episodes start to make a hell of a lot more sense after this one. I think if you tell someone watch the season from start to finish, you watch the first 4, you're like, this season sucks. Like, this is not great. I don't know what the hell's going on. This makes no sense. This episode to me sums up all the information we needed to understand what happens in this one and hopefully the rest of the season. Hopefully. I'm hoping the next 3 episodes are just complete bangers.
So all we need is patience.
Yep. And Nick, Elliot Kane does mention this rumor in episode 3, right? When they're at the Imperial readjustment facility.
Yep, she does.
Yeah. So it's another plot point that's paid off. So like this one, a lot of good writing is here, bringing things in from the other episodes we learned about.
It's all patience.
All patience here. Speaking of patience here, let's get to our character draft. We still don't have any points yet through 5 episodes, but this might change very soon based on the mission that Bo-Katan and Mando got sent out here. So Team Pete right now, Sabine Wren, we got her buddy Zeb this week. Fennec, Shan, Cobb Vanth, and Cad Bane. Nick has the aforementioned Casca Reeves, Ahsoka, Thrawn, who that pick looks very, very good, Nick.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. Black K's not looking too good though.
Black K not looking too good. I have 2 Mandalorians, my team, Axe Woves and Boba Fett, plus Mayfeld and Han Solo here. I do feel like next week, I feel like we're gonna get some points here, especially if we're following through on this. We're gonna go get more Mandalorians.
Yep. I'm excited.
We all could capitalize on this because obviously, like Bo-Katan ties to the first pick on all of our teams.
Yeah. Yep. That's correct.
Right. And Mando can bring Boba Fett along.
He could if he needs to.
Yeah, I think that might be Mando's thing.
That'll be their new thing where they don't see each other, and then every season at the end of the season in Mando and inevitably in Boba Fett season 2, it's let me get him, and then in the last episode they're all there.
Yeah. Would you be annoyed? Like, I thought for a second here, I was gonna make a joke last week. I forgot, Nick, to say, oh, like this is gonna be like episode 5. This is where we're getting a Book of Boba Fett episode to make up for the one that Mando stole from him.
This is what I thought. I didn't think Boba Fett, but this is what I thought was going to happen with Grief Karga. I thought it was, this is the Grief Karga episode, and Mando's not going to be in it. That's what I thought at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to be proven wrong, and so quickly too. I was pretty much 2-3 minutes worth of being mad.
All right, so let's get to our trackers. You need to keep track of every single week on the podcast here. So, Nick, the episode was called The Pirate, but still no Hondo. So we're at 18 Hondos.
Look at him. We'll get him.
Yeah. We got rid of Captain Seaweed, make more room for Hondo in the story.
I think we this might be stealing it from SpongeBob, but maybe we'll call him Captain Kelp. That's probably a little bit better.
All right, well, we'll get that here. So Pete, the Bo-Katan tracker hit again, so 18 Bo-Katans.
We're gonna hit every episode. I don't think there's an episode we don't see Bo-Katan for the next 3. So
yeah, I don't think it's anyway, unless she dies in 2 episodes.
Or we had the Boba Fett episode, though, that is mentioned, and nobody else in Mando's in it.
Oh, God.
Next up, Nick, the Darksaber is here. So no Darksaber yet, though. Still just Chapter 18. The Blaze only lit once this season.
Interesting. It seems like they made such a big deal about it in season 1 and even in 2, and it's just not really important anymore.
All right, next up here, Pete. Live action cameos here. We are going to add another one to the board for R5. So 21 live action cameos. 17 live action cameos.
It's always the frickin' droids.
Yeah.
It's always the droids. It's never like the actual characters I want to see.
Look at our teams in the character draft. If I picked R5 and Zeb, I'd be winning by a lot.
Yeah, that's true here. Or we could have picked Keller and Beck.
Oh, yeah. I guess so. Would that be live action or would that be animated? I guess live action, right?
Live action.
I guess so.
Yeah, next up here, Pete. Anime cameos. Oh, yeah, Bo-Katan, and we got Zeb, so 12.
Yeah, Zeb being in this episode was super cool, even though it was only for a little bit.
Yep. Nick, the planets here. We picked up our favorite planet, the College of Delphi. So 17 planets.
This is over the course of the entire thing.
Yes.
17 in 21 episodes.
24. We got the Bobas.
Okay. All right. 20. Yeah, that's cool.
Next up here, Pete, This Is the Way. We picked up 4 more this week, so 45. This is the ways.
34.
We're gonna be adding to this. No. You're very curious to what this season's gonna be.
Yeah. Next up here, Nick. For the first time, I think we can qualify this as a Mando job because he liberates Nevarro in exchange for the tract of land.
I kind of actually see it as the opposite, where I feel like Mando was out looking for work, and this was when work came to him. It is technically still a Mando job. I'm not going to disagree with that, but you see what I'm saying here, where
The job found him.
Yeah, he was looking for a job because he wanted to find his people. Now he's with his people. He's living the life he wants to live. He wants to be with the covert, has Grogu learning. He's living, and someone came to him and said, "I need your help," instead of him going around saying, "I need your help finding this, 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 and this."
Yeah, so we got a job here. The tracker got activated finally.
But yeah, it is a job at the end of the day.
Yeah. Next up here, Pete. Grogu didn't need to see because he barely saw Grogu in this episode, so we're up to 11 on those.
Yeah, 100%.
Next up here, Nick. Last one, named Mandalorians here. So our main 4 were on the board again, so 19 Mandalorians.
How many unique?
5. We still have a debate about Ragnar from last week.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. I do not think so.
All right, so now next thing we're going to do here is to go to the MVP, LVP board. We're going to look at the best and worst characters from the season of Mandalorian thus far based on our rankings here. So
I just think it has to either be 6 or 4.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to count Ragnar, you have to count Grogu.
Well, we'll get our guest opinion next week.
That's fair.
All right, so next up here, the MVP, LVP board. Here's where we stand after 4 episodes. Bo-Katan on top at +4. +2s, Elia Kane, Grogu, and Mando. Moff Gideon off screen and Keller and Beck get +1s. -1s are Vane, Pelimato, Dr. Pershing, the New Republic, and Nick's favorite, Dr. Twi'lek. Paz Vizsla, -3, the Armorer, -4. So those are our MVP, LVP rankings heading into the week here. So now we're going to start filling out this week's section here. So I'll start out first the MVP section. I'm going to give it to Carson Teva. I feel like he did a good job here, not just following orders and taking the extra step to go track Mando down and get help the people of the planet who needs. I'll give Carson Teva the MVP. Pete, who are you giving it to?
I'm giving it to Mando. Not only is he a badass in this episode, in my opinion, he actually kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of suggests and gets the Mandalorian covert to go and help. Paz Vizsla obviously helps that, but he really makes a case for it, and I think he's the MVP.
He does a good job here. I mean, he does turn this leverage situation to get a new home base for his people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nick, who's your MVP?
I never thought I'd say this. I'm going with you, Mike. Not that I never thought I'd go with you. I never thought I'd say Carson as my MVP. Just didn't seem like I had nothing wrong with the character. Just never thought he'd be the lead of an episode where I'd be giving him the MVP. But yeah, followed his orders. He stuck to his gut. He's
drinking with Zeb.
He's drinking with Zeb. Like he if it wasn't for him, what would have happened? These people would be overtaken. You saw what would have happened. Like we had that little scene of the pirates walking out of the bar, right?
Yeah, the kicking the poor guy who got stuck behind.
That's what would have happened. That would have been forever.
Yep. Let's go the other way. Who's the LVP of the week, Pete?
LVP of the week. Oh my god, I'm blanking. Can you come back to me? I don't know why I just blanked.
Sure. Nick, you ready to go?
Oh yeah. My LVP is Vane. You're the first mate, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Sure, it's not Bizarro Keel.
It could be. You're his admiral, his general. You're one of his top guys, and you bail.
He runs.
He ran away. I mean, he was smart. He would have died if he didn't. But I can't believe he just bailed on his crew like that. And he'll come back. I'd imagine that he was working for either Thrawn or Gideon, or you're right, he should have been Skeleton Crew. We haven't seen the last of Vane, but that's my LVP for running away.
Okay. I'm giving it to New Republic again, because to me, this is not a hard situation when you have a guy who's been on the Outer Rim and says, like, hey, Like, shit's going down. We need to help these people because this could be Empire Lane. You're like, sorry, you gotta fill out your paperwork, please. You're not getting enough proper requisitions on time. They're not in the wars. You have to go behind everybody else on the list here. So Colonel Tuttle, aka the New Republic, is going to be the LVP for me this week.
Yeah, so as you guys said, I remembered it immediately. So sorry. So I'm with Mike. I was going to say the Colonel, but I think New Republic is probably the better option because of just their practices. So going with Mike on this one, LVP's New Republic.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this in terms of the New Republic here. I mean, like, I feel like Colonel Tuttle was a paper pusher. I feel like he's just following the rules, and like their rule set structure is very poor, Pete.
Very, but we've seen people in Star Wars break the rules, so I just feel like he could have done more. But I think New Republic as a whole is probably a better option.
Carson Teva broke the rules this episode.
Right.
Yeah. So. All right. Next up here, we're going to grade the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worse than 1978 holiday special. 10 is the prison break episode of Andor in terms of the pinnacle of live action content. Nick, you want to lead us off here with your grade?
Sure. It's double digits. It's 10. Nothing wrong with it except the first minute.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this a 9. I think this is one of the best of the season. I really love this episode here. A little annoyed that we spent all episode on Captain Seaweed, but it did work out pretty well. So I'm gonna give this a 9 here. So Pete, what are you doing?
I'm splitting the difference, giving it a 9.5. Phenomenal episode. I think the only thing that would have pushed it to a 10 is if Thrawn was in that spaceship or that shuttle. I mean, I feel like it was just missing that little extra to make it a 10 for me, but 9.5.
All right, so that's out here. Chapter 22 predictions here. We have a lot of things to go here. And Nick, before we get into predictions here, I'll mention that I went back this morning. I rewatched the trailer for season 3. We have exhausted almost all of our footage from season 3. This episode wiped out a lot of what was left.
What's left?
Mando and Grogu in the droid bar.
The droid bar, huh?
Yeah, so I'm going to say my prediction here is that we are going to, I think Mando's going to the droid bar this week. I think that's my call. We're going to use that footage. We get Mando and Grogu at the droid bar, and we get a hit on the character draft.
Oh, all right. I think, I'm not next. Go ahead.
Yeah, Pete, what you got for next week?
So I do think we get a character draft. I think most of the time we're going to be flip-flopping between Bo-Katan and Mando. And I think Bo-Katan, I think we maybe finally get Sabine. I think Bo-Katan's going to find some other Mandalorians. I think we either get Sabine or we get Axe Woves I keep forgetting the other one's name.
Casca Reeves.
Casca Reeves, yes, thank you. So yeah, it's going to be either one of them, I think. I think Bo-Katan finds some Mandalorians, and I think Mando is going to have his own kind of storyline. They flip-flop.
Nick, what you got?
I think that we're going to see what Pete said with Bo-Katan going off and finding other Mandalorians, perhaps with the armor, not really sure, but going out and finding other Mandalorians. And I also think that on the flip side of it, we're going to see the follow-up on the final scene there. I think we're going to find out who it was sooner rather than later, because I think if we do find out sooner rather than later, we have time to build up that character to be our main bet, unless we're going with Elia Kane.
Yeah, so you're assuming that like we're Carson Taylor's going to investigate went on out there.
Yeah, I really hope we don't hold off any longer on that, because if you just end this season with season 3 being, Elia Kane was your main villain, that's it. And then, we forgot about that thing that happened in the middle of season 3. We'll touch on that in the end of season 4 or in Ahsoka. I'll be like, just come on, tell me what's going on. We've waited long enough. The Mandoverse started 3.5 years ago, and we haven't even met Thanos yet.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
So I don't know if it's a problem, but I'm getting impatient.
I will also point out here that my prediction here at the droid bar is I think we're going to pick up the IG-88 plot. I think we're going to see them go to the droid bar, try and find a part for the droid.
Speaking of that, they announced Babu Frick was going to be in the season. They showed in episode 1 that it was not Babu Frick.
Yeah.
I feel like it had to have been him.
Well, they didn't confirm it. I looked on the Wikipedia. It didn't mention him being there.
Yeah, are they going to find another set? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that was probably it.
Maybe Babu versus the droid bar.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
hopefully Pete's not there, because we don't want to have to get him picked up again.
Yeah, so there we go. So in terms of the next thing you hear from us on the podcast here, we're going to wrap our Bad Batch coverage this week. The season finale dropped the same day as this pirate here. So Pete, very fun end of the season. A couple of confusing things, but like we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was about time. I mean, it took them a whole season to get to really, really good content. And now we got to wait another 2 years before another thing comes out. So
At least,
definitely a great season finale.
at least we think we're getting more.
I'm hoping. If we don't, it makes no sense. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to do it here for us. We'll be back next week. We're having a guest next week to join us here for chapter 22. We're over halfway through the season now.
And I finally feel really good about it. I was a little worried, and now I'm not worried any longer. I think this is going to be one hell of a season.
Absolutely. Here, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. Pete, do you want to follow you on the social media streets? How can I do that?
At PJ Consadori 29 on Twitter.
Nick, do you want to follow all the Scott guys on the social media streets? How can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast, that is both on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, you can also follow me on Twitter at mphillips331. That's MPHILLIPS 331. This week over on the Just and the Suffering podcast, we're getting you ready for the baseball season. Our MLB overruns with your brother Phil Fraietta here. He had some fun picks there. Plus, we did some Mars Madness coverage with Troy Moriello.
And we know he did not pick the Giants and the White Sox.
Correct.
That's all we know, though.
If you want to know who he picked and who I picked, you got to listen to that podcast.
That's right.
That's going to be all for us this week on the Mandalorian side. We'll be back next week. We're going to cover chapter 22, follow up these threads. Maybe we'll get some throw on some character draft. But until then, may the force be with you.